All right, my name's David from Slavens Racing, and I just want to take a few minutes to talk about rear tire selections that we use most of the time out here in the state of Colorado, Utah, western U.S. These tires will be able to hook anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the world. Mud, sand, rock, slick rock, terrain agnostic. It doesn't care. Most of these tires will do phenomenally well in any condition. Now, these are primarily the gummy side of the house. We have motocross tires, 33s, 34s that are stiffer rubber compound, the original AT81s. These are all gummy compounds. In the gummy category, there is, like anything else in the world, there's levels, everything. So we have super gummy, very gummy tires, soft, that don't have a high mileage, but they have ridiculous traction, all the way up until you get to a stiffer rubber compound, still in the gummy category, that provides better wear, but not as good a traction as some of the gummier tires. First one today to talk about is going to be the Motas Arena Hybrid Gummy. There's two versions of this tire. There's the Arena Hybrid, single compound stiffer rubber, not a gummy, and the Arena Hybrid Gummy, which is what I have in my hand. The Arena Hybrid Gummy is a phenomenal tire, point and shoot weapon system. No matter where you want this tire to take your bike, it's really going to be up to the operator. This tire will not let you down. The drawback of this tire is that it does not seal as well with tubeless as some of the other options available, and anyone that's dealt with tubeless and been confounded in your garage knows after the second, third, fourth Jack and Coke, it can get a little contentious in there. So again, the Motas Arena Hybrid Gummy tire. Next option, IRC. IRC is a smaller company, of course, but they make phenomenal tires, all right? This is the JX8. JX8 comes in only a 110, but it is a wide 110. Again, tire sizes, there's a notional tire size and there's an actual physical tire size. This is a notional 110, but it's actually as big as a 120 in the physical size. So it's like shoes. Show me 10 different manufacturers of shoes. I need to try them on because only 7.5 of those 10 are going to fit my feet in the size and being all the same size. So again, the JX8 is going to be an all-around good tire. It is the softer of the rubber compounds, but not the softest. The mileage on this, on a normal bigger bike, say 500, you're looking at about 200 miles and this thing will be destroyed, shredded, but it's 200 miles of pure traction. On the smaller bikes with less power, you can get a little bit more mileage out of them, but they are lower mileage tires, but they are phenomenal traction too. And again, all of these tires are great traction. They're just different, different rubber compounds and different wear patterns. All right, again, IRC JX8. All right, next tire, going to be back to an IRC, the VE33S. For your old guys out there, this is the original old school Vulcanduro tire. Still says Vulcanduro down the carcass, but it is modern materials, modern manufacturing. This is a directional tire. The two prior were not. This one is directional. Easy way to tell, there's an arrow on the side. It's also 90 degrees to the carcass on your leading edge or acceleration edge. It has a little bit of a sweep on the braking side so you don't rip knobs off under heavy braking. This is a larger, blockier knob pattern, and it does very well everywhere, but it really will kind of fade halfway through its life cycle. So about halfway through, you'll start to round these knobs off, and it is not as good a tire in the second half of its life as it was in the first half of its life. You could probably say that for every tire, but this one does tend to fade later on in its life cycle. But you can get many, many, many miles out of one of these tires if you're doing a dual sport ride. This is the 110, which is a narrow 110, but it is IRC VE33S. They make a standard VE33, similar to the Motas Arena Hybrid Gummy. It is a single rubber compound stiffer. You want the VE33S's in soft. All right, this one, my personal favorite, is Shinko, and forgive me, I'm not going to say that word too many times in my life, but the Shinko 520 DC. DC is in dual compound. So this is the only tire that we're going to talk about that has two rubber compounds in one tire. Street bikes have been using dual compound tires for years now. On a street bike, the center patch is stiffer rubber compound. The outer sides for turning are softer rubber compound. Swap that around on a dirt bike. The center patch is gummy, and the outer portions of this tire, to include the knobs, are stiffer rubber compound. So wherever the gummy portion slips, the stiffer rubber picks up, and vice versa. Again, Shinko, not one of my favorite tire choices on the world, but they've done their homework on this tire, and this is a ridiculously high traction, 400 mile plus tire. Doesn't chunk knobs, doesn't tear apart, doesn't shred. This thing will go for a long time. The only time I've taken them off about 360 mile average, and the only reason I have is because after about 350 miles, the carcass gets a little soft and it feels like you're running on a water balloon, but it did not affect traction. It was just that the ass end of the bike was a little soft, and I don't really care for it. Though about 350, 400 miles, this is coming off the bike, putting a new one on. This is directional. Scoops go forward. It does have the arrow on the side, so should be no problems. Again, Shinko 520 DC. Forgive me for using that word Shinko, guys. The newest entry to this gummy category is a Dunlop. Dunlop AT81s have been around for a long time. I'm not personally a fan of the stiffer rubber type AT81s. They're better dirt bike or a competition and track tire. These are all more trail, gnarly, shelf, climbs, descents, step ups, step downs, rock piles, whatever you want. All these tires will do phenomenally well. They're just going to be a little different for each one for different purposes. But this is the AT81 EX. So Dunlop, I'm sure, looked at market shares and realized that we were selling more IRCs and Shinkos than we were selling Dunlops. Dunlop did their homework with this tire. I was not, initially I was not going to be impressed with this tire simply because I thought they just took an AT81, threw a little bit less soft or a little bit more soft rubber in there, and it was going to be, you know, just a, let's say, tire not unlike the original AT81, but it is not. It is a complete redesign. This tire, Jeff rode 2 of these at the end of the season last year. This tire went everywhere. That stack of tires we just went through all day long. We took them to Idaho. We did 4 days, 400 miles. This tire held up as well as the 3500s with the Shinko 520 DCs on the rear. So the AT81 EX, new entry, $123 plus shipping. And they really did their homework on this tire. I am absolutely impressed with how well Dunlop has done with the Geomax AT81 EX. All right, honorable mention category, not a gummy, but honorable mention. The Golden Tire GT 333. 216 front, GT 333 rear. Golden Tire is a DOT certified, all around good tire. I put it on my dirt bike, my 500, to run it just to see how well it worked. And I couldn't tell that there was a DOT tire on my motorcycle. This thing hooked up phenomenally well. So if you're looking for a dual sport tire or an adventure type tire where you need to get mileage out of it, but you still want full-blown knobby duty when you hit the trails, the Golden Tire is probably the best option we have. Motas does make some options for that. The Enduro ST, the Desert IT, there is some you know, versions of a Motas in there that would do as well. But for just straight dirt bike duty and all types of terrain, the Golden Tire 333 is an impressive piece of rubber. It does paired with the GT 216 Golden Tire front. All right, and that's all we have right now for the gummy tires. And again, Golden Tire's honorable mention. If you have any questions, call Slavens Racing, 719-475-2624. My name is David. We have Rick, Ray, and Todd sitting at the desk all day long. We can talk tires. They'll probably throw the phone at me anyway. But any questions, give me a call, and we'll get you hooked up. And again, these are phenomenal pieces of rubber, very, very specific for the trail riding type. And the gnarlier, the better. Any of these tires will do great work underneath your motorcycle. Thank you.